There's a place on our own planet so deep that if you were to drop Mount Everest into it, its peak would still be more than a mile underwater. A realm of impossible pressure, unending darkness, and chilling cold. This is the Challenger Deep, the most extreme environment on Earth. For a long time, we knew more about the surface of the moon than we did about this place. It was a black box, a source of myths where legends told of monsters that could drag ships into the abyss. Today, we're journeying into that abyss to meet the bizarre, alien-like creatures that call it home. We're peeling back the surface of our world to see what truly lies beneath. To understand the life that exists here, you first have to understand the world it calls home. The Challenger Deep, at the southern tip of the Mariana Trench, is a chasm nearly 11.0 meters or about 7 miles straight down. Descending into it is like entering another dimension. First, the light vanishes. Below 1.0 meters, sunlight is gone, and the world is plunged into a permanent, absolute midnight. Then there's the cold. Temperatures in the Hadal Zone, the ocean's deepest layer below 6.0 meters, hover just above freezing, between 1 and 2 degrees Celsius. But the single greatest challenge, the one thing that defines this world, is the pressure. At the bottom, the pressure is over 1.0 times greater than at sea level. That's a force equal to putting 50 jumbo jets on top of a single person. That kind of force will crush steel. It will instantly obliterate any pocket of air. A human lung would be compressed to the size of a pea. For anything to survive down here, it has to be built differently, playing by a set of biological rules we're only just beginning to understand. It has to be a master of adaptation, forged in the most unforgiving place on the planet. For centuries, we thought this area was a dead zone. We couldn't have been more wrong. Our journey begins, plunging past the sunlit waters and into the eternal dark. As our virtual submersible descends, the pressure gauge climbs relentlessly, down, down, into the Hadal Zone. And it's here, in the crushing blackness, that we finally meet the inhabitants. First, a true master of the abyss, the Mariana snailfish. This ghostly, tadpole-like creature holds the record for the deepest fish ever found, thriving at depths of over 8.0 meters. One was even filmed at an astonishing 143 meters. It doesn't look like any fish you'd find near the surface. Its body is soft, translucent, and gelatinous, with no scales at all. But this isn't a weakness, it's a key to survival. Instead of fighting the pressure, its body yields to it. It has no swim bladder, the air-filled sac most fish use for buoyancy, because any gas pocket would be instantly flattened. Its cells are filled with special molecules called piezolytes, like TMAO, which stop its proteins from being squeezed into oblivion. This delicate-looking animal isn't just surviving the pressure, it's using it to its advantage. As we go deeper, the scavengers appear, drawn by the faintest hope of a meal. Here, we find the giant amphipod. Their cousins in shallow water are often no bigger than a fingernail, but these deep-sea crustaceans can grow to be almost a foot long. It's a phenomenon called deep-sea gigantism. In a world where food is incredibly rare, being bigger means you can last longer between meals and devour almost any organic treasure that drifts down from above, whether it's a whale carcass or a sunken piece of wood. They're the cleanup crew of the abyss, perfectly built for a life of feast or famine. But not everything here is big. The seafloor sediment is swarming with life. Recent expeditions have identified thousands of new microbe species, forming a vast unseen ecosystem, and in the mud, we find one of the strangest things imaginable, the xenophyophore. These organisms can grow to the size of a dinner plate, yet they're a single-celled amoeba. It's a microbe of giant proportions, which builds a complex, shell-like home for itself out of sediment. Finding a single cell this massive is like finding an insect the size of a whale. It completely redefines what a microbe can be. Of course, not all deep-sea creatures stick to the absolute bottom. In the midnight zones just above, evolution has had some of its most creative and terrifying ideas. This is where the barrel-eye fish swims. It looks like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, with a completely transparent, fluid-filled head. You can literally see its internal, tube-shaped eyes, which can rotate to look straight up through its own skull, spotting the faint silhouettes of prey. And those things on the front of its face that look like eyes, those are actually its nostrils. Then there are the masters of light in a world of total darkness. The deep-sea anglerfish is pure nightmare fuel, with a gaping mouth of needle-sharp teeth. Dangling from its head is a fleshy lure that glows with an eerie bioluminescent light, produced by bacteria living in its skin. This light acts as bait, luring curious smaller fish closer in the pitch black, right before those massive jaws snap shut. It's the perfect hunting strategy when you can't go looking for your food. You have to make your food come to you. The life we're seeing is more alien than anything we could have dreamed up, and it's all happening right here on our own planet. If you're enjoying this journey into the deep, and you want to see more explorations into the unknown, take a second to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us bring these incredible stories to light. For most of history, the Challenger Deep was completely out of our reach. In fact, fewer people have seen it with their own eyes than have walked on the moon. As of 2022, that number was just 27. The first to ever make the journey were Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard, way back in 1960, in a bathyscaphe called the Trieste. Their descent took nearly 5 hours, and when they reached the bottom, a window on the vessel actually cracked under the strain. But they saw what they thought was a flatfish, now believed to have been a sea cucumber, proving that life could exist at the deepest point on Earth. It took another 52 years for a human to return. In 2012, filmmaker James Cameron made a solo dive in his submersible, the Deep Sea Challenger, and brought back the first high-definition footage of the seafloor. Since then, a new era of exploration has kicked off, led by adventurers like Victor Vescovo, who has dived to the deep more than a dozen times, and by remotely operated vehicles that can withstand the pressure for far longer. These modern missions, armed with advanced sonar and sampling tools, are responsible for most of the recent discoveries, proving the trench isn't some desolate valley, but a dynamic landscape teeming with bizarre life. Everything we've seen so far is just a snapshot. The ghostly snailfish, the giant amphipods, the single-celled xenophyrophores, these are just what we've been lucky enough to find. Scientists estimate we have explored less than 10% of our own oceans, and the Hadal Zone is by far the least understood part. Expeditions are constantly returning with new species. A recent study announced the discovery of over 7,000 new types of microbes, nearly 90% of which were previously unknown to science. It's a strange thought, isn't it? We have more detailed maps of the craters on Mars than we do of the trenches on our own planet. What else is hiding in the darkness? What other forms of life have evolved to conquer this crushing alien world? Every single dive brings back new questions, new species, and a deeper respect for the sheer tenacity of life. The story of the Challenger Deep is still being written. So, what was once dismissed as a lifeless, empty void has revealed itself to be a hidden cradle of evolution. Life here isn't just getting by. It's thriving, showing off an incredible playbook of adaptations that shatter our ideas of biology. These creatures have mastered a world without air, without light, and under pressures that ought to be impossible. They're a powerful reminder that life will always find a way, even in the most extreme corners of our world. The deep ocean holds secrets we are only just beginning to unlock. With every new discovery, we learn more not just about our planet, but about the fundamental nature of life itself. And what we've learned so far is that we have so much more to learn. The darkness of the deep sea isn't empty, it's just waiting. What do you think is still waiting to be discovered down there? Which of these deep-sea creatures do you find the most fascinating? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to join us on more journeys into the incredible and the unknown, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.